Is AI scary? I don't know if AI is scary or not, but that expression was pretty scary. So, last week on our sister publication, AIdaily.us, breaking news in AI, curated by humans. By the way, folks, I have heard from some folks saying, don't read AI news. God forbid you read AI news. AI news is terrible. I'm like, sure, AI news selected by AI, curated by AI. I can see how there might be a problem with that. I can see how some people may have an issue with that, because AI still has a little trouble with curation, has a little trouble with selection. So AIdaily.us, our sister publication, does not use AI curation. Each and every story is selected by a human being. The only thing that the AI does is summarize and convert from text to speech when I do the podcast and the video for it. Now, the interesting thing about this is that there's a couple of new AI tools that have come out, in Claude 3, which is the latest iteration of the Anthropic Claude chatbot, came out, and I was testing it last week. And in the process of testing it last week, I realized it was making huge errors. It was hallucinating like crazy. And I turned away from it, and I said, okay, well, that's not going to work. You need human beings to look at everything that AI has created. We might create it, but we should edit it, or we should curate it. Anyways, I digress. So there was a story in AIdaily.us about how people's sense of AI has changed over the last little while. It used to be more optimistic, and now we're saying words like scary, uncertain, worried when it comes to AI. Of course, there's also some people who are talking about how they're tired of having AI pushed down their throats because there's AI in everything, right? It's become the hot new thing. Do you remember when the internet was the hot new thing? Do you remember when Google was the hot new thing? Remember when Gmail was the hot new thing? Gmail was so hot at one point that people were literally selling Gmail invitations on eBay. That's right, folks. Gmail invitations were being sold on eBay. So AI is the big thing right now. So it is going to be everywhere. And in fact, one of the reasons why it's everywhere is because people are still interested in it. And what's happened is, I'm reading, that one of these sources has said that the tide has turned on AI. We used to think of it in a more neutral term, but now we're thinking of it in more of a negative way, right? We're ascribing negative connotations to AI as opposed to positive ones. Now, if you ask me, I blame the media, the news media, the mainstream media. They all do the exact same thing, because there's one thing that you can count on with human beings. This is something that is hardwired into our soul. We pay more attention to negative things than positive things. There's nothing we can do about it. That is an instinctual thing. So if somebody wants to do, and see, this is the thing. I mean, I can talk a little bit about business models. And one of the reasons why the media is so negative is because it's largely driven by advertising. And the way to get more people to pay for ads and to make more money off ads is to drag more eyeballs to your story. And if you're being crazy, if you're being outrageous, if you're being scary, then more and more people will be drawn to your story. So it behooves the media to write their stories in the most negative way possible to try and really attach itself to that negative connotation, that instinctual negative thing that human beings have. And once it's attached to that instinctual negative thing that human beings have, people will be spending more attention. And as they spend more attention, because attention is now the coin of the realm, they'll make more money. The advertisers will make more money. The company will make more money. CNN will make more money. Fox will make more money. All of these companies will make more money if they put out a negative story about AI, then they put out a positive story about AI or a neutral story about AI. If it's a negative story, it sells. If it bleeds, it leads. That was the original phrase on this. So on the one hand, we're seeing a lot more negative reporting about AI, probably because we want these folks are latching onto AI and saying, oh, let's call it a terrible thing. Let's look at the negative sides of AI and focus on the negative sides of AI and freak people out about AI so that they get more freaked out about AI and watch more news. So that's one thing. And it's the same problem with any technology. Any technology has the same effect, no matter what it was, no matter what it is. Whenever a new technological breakthrough occurs, there's all sorts of fear-mongering on the front end. Tons of fear-mongering, especially on the job front. Oh my God, we're going to lose all these jobs due to AI. AI is going to come in and it's going to take all of our jobs, and we won't have anything to do. And this time, sure, we said the same thing with the internet, and we said the same thing with the Industrial Revolution, but this time it's different. It's not any different this time. This is the same thing that happens every single time. We are kind of like clockwork when it comes to these things. Whenever a new technological revolution starts, there's people who embrace it, which is people like me and people like in the 10XU community that I launched last week. And there's people who fear it. And then there's those people in between who are neutral about it, right? They might use it, they might not use it. So there's been a preponderance of the fear lately. And the thing that bothers me about that is that it's so disingenuous to AI. Because, first of all, they pump AI up to make it sound like it's some evil Terminator-like machine that is going to come in and destroy us. And it's less like that than it is, say, a bumbling intern who has gone through a lot of education and has read a lot and knows a lot, but can't really do a lot of things too well without guidance. And that's where we are, folks. That's where we are with AI. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Generative AI, in the state that it is today, is literally a more sophisticated autocorrect. That's right, folks. You tell it something, it's going to go into its large language model of all sorts of forms of language that we have entered into it. Software developers, the people who run the AI companies, they've put as much of a totality of human output as they can into this AI, into this large language model. And then the large language model, or the AI, goes in and looks at the large language model and says, wow, I'm going to put together a set of words which I think this human being who's talking to me is going to want to see. It's an autocorrect. Sophisticated, huge language autocorrect. It's not that intelligent. Like I said, it's like a freshly minted intern who's done a lot of book work, but has no real experience in the world. And that is where we are. And I just find it amazing that the media can actually portray this bumbling thing as something that we really have to be scared of. So I'm sorry, folks, to burst your bubble. Those of you who are afraid of AI, you got to understand, you're not really talking to a computer. It's a bunch of human beings back there that they put together this thing that tries to emulate a human being. So it's trying, but it's not getting there. It's nothing we have to worry about yet. And as a matter of fact, not only is it something we don't have to worry about yet, because it's such a tool, it's simply a tool like any other tool. It's like a hammer. We should learn to use it. And you can learn to use a hammer to destroy, or you can use a hammer to build. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to use AI as a tool to build and not fear it so much. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.